All right, guys, hope you can hear me okay. I just got up and read this story, and wow, my bullshit meter is blowing up. Look at this terrorist that they arrested. Omali Yeshitela founded the African People's Socialist Party in 1972. So get this, the FBI decided to get off their ass um, since they ignore legitimate crimes that are occurring on the daily, committed by the president's son and other brazen criminals who record their crimes. But they decided to get off their ass and make a big, huge show out of shaking down some aging black socialists. And I'm 100% anti-socialism, you guys. But again, it's the age-old tale of not standing up because they came for the Jews, and I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the, let's say communists, but I wasn't a communist, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the insert the group here. And then by the time they came for me, there was no one left to stand up. So the point here is that this seems to be yet another attack on free speech. You're allowed to be a socialist in America. You're allowed to have radical socialist ideas. As much as I disagree with them, as an American, you're allowed to hold that view. So I'll just read some of this. Federal investigators raided the offices and homes of leaders involved with local black liberation group under suspicion of Russian collusion. Does that sound familiar? You talk about something that's been thoroughly debunked and thoroughly discredited. All of a sudden now the FBI cares about the elections. Watch this. Officials of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and African People's Socialist Party say the FBI performed a violent raid with flash grenades and drones about 5 a.m. Friday morning. At a news conference Friday, Chairman Omali Yeshitela said he and his wife were handcuffed during the raid and investigators searched their home. He said the FBI threw flash grenades into his home and performed the raid without knocking or showing him a search warrant. Yeah, that sounds legit. Yeah, that sounds like what the premier law enforcement agency in the United States is supposed to conduct itself. Yeshitela said the FBI believes the Uyghur Movement and African People's Socialist Party may somehow be involved with Russia's tampering in U.S. elections. Which elections? Certainly not the ones we just had, because those fell in favor of the armed wing of the Democratic Party, which is what the FBI has become. What they have claimed is, I wasn't reading that, by the way, that's me narrating. What they have claimed is that they are indicting someone, a Russian nationalist who was in Russia. Yeshitela said they have claimed that they were investigating the African People's Socialist Party that I led in the Uhuru movement because of some association that we might have with the Russian government. So this guy visited Russia in like 2014, 7 years ago, and because of that now they've decided to raid his home with flash grenades. The raid appears connected to one in St. Petersburg, Florida that occurred around the same time Friday morning. Tampa Bay Times reports that federal law enforcement at St. Petersburg police performed searches at multiple locations, including the Uhuru house in Florida, under search warrant seemingly related to an indictment against a Russian national. Okay, so you get to kick in the homes of American citizens because they have, radical political views, just because you have an indictment for a Russian national who's not even in the U.S.? According to a federal indictment obtained by the Times, Alexander Viktorovich Ilonov, I don't know if it's an I, Ionov or Lonov, is alleged, I think it's Ionov, is alleged to have worked with unnamed officers of Russia's Federal Security Service. I pronounced that name pretty well in Russian. They're probably going to come kicking my door now because I was able to say a Russian name fairly easily. Russia's Federal Security Service to use members of U.S. political groups as foreign agents of Russia. So here's the indictment. That's the PDF. Ionov recruited members of various political groups to attend government-sponsored conferences in Russia to encourage participating groups to advocate for separating from their home countries. Ooh, the indictment states. Wow, how scary is that? The indictment does not explicitly name Yeshitela or the African People's Socialist Party, but describes two co-conspirators as residents of St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis. Go to any bar on a Friday night and talk to some of the 20-somethings with all the nose piercings and the blue hair and see if they don't already advocate for separating from their own countries. They hate America. How come no one's kicking in their doors? The indictment against Ionov identifies him as the founder and president of the anti-globalization movement of Russia. Oh, that sounds so scary. A Moscow-based organization that advocates for, you ready for it? Get ready. You better hide your children. Cover your wife's ears and hide your children. This is what they advocate, okay? Listen to this scary shit. For sovereignty of nation states, including the sovereignty of Russia. Oh my God! We should just drop a nuke on these guys. Let's just blow up the entire East Coast and anyone who's ever even had any type of involvement with the this African group and this the Russians because they advocate for the sovereignty of nation states, including the sovereignty of Russia. Oh my God. Yeshitela said he visited Russia in 2014 as part of a conference organized by a Russian organization that dealt with anti-globalization movement in Russia, but his involvement with that country did not extend beyond that. This movement had conferences in Russia, organizing peoples from around the world who were opposed to globalization, who were struggling for self-determination. Here's my thing about this. This could easily be First Amendment auditors, okay? This could easily be anybody who's against our two-party, two-party voting system. Oh, Lord. I just noticed those pastries. Oh, my God. What in the world? They're not even... Guys, seriously, check it out. Newton. Okay, I gotta take a side bar for this. Valentine swap defamation allegations as primary gets ugly. Naughty bits. Oh, okay, that was a separate story. Oh my gosh. Now the question is, why am I getting these ads? Aren't they personalized? What have I been looking at on here? Oh my God. Okay, Ionov recruited members of various political groups to attend government sponsored. Right, we read that already. Check this out. The indictment does not explicitly name Yeshitela or the African People's Socialist Party, but describes two co-conspirators as residents of St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis. So there it is right there, okay? All they have to do is decide that First Amendment auditors are anti-government, anti-police, and that they somehow support Russia, which, by the way, I do in this war. Ukraine is the world capital of human and child smuggling. I know children are human, but I just mean, versus adult, which is what I'm calling human. That is what the Ukraine is. It is the absolute epicenter of human and child smuggling. And we're sending billions of dollars to this corrupt government that has had all types of backdoor, back alley, dirty dealings with the Biden crime family. And I'm supposed to be running around flying a Ukraine flag and feeling all sorry for them and wanting us to send billions of dollars to them while gas prices are rising here. Are you absolutely out of your mind? Of course I support Russia, 100%. I don't support war crimes, genocide, or invading other countries. But as far as what country is in the right, what country has my support, it's certainly not Ukraine, that's for sure. Absolutely not. I'm not saying Russia's a great place either, at all. I'm not pro-Russia per se, but if you sit down and read the history of Russia and the things that Putin stands for versus this weirdo creep from Ukraine that they keep parading on TV as a hero and as the next Messiah, sorry, I'm with Putin all the way. If I'm forced to choose between two evils, let's put it that way. Yeshitela said he visited Russia in 2014 as part of a conference organized by a Russian organization that dealt with anti-globalization. There's nothing wrong with anti-globalization. Globalism is going to destroy this entire world. This movement had conferences in Russia, organized people from around the world who were opposed to globalization, were struggling for self-determination. 1972, so they're like arresting this aging, Morgan Freeman-looking African dude who's a socialist. Why? Why are they raiding these guys? Yeshitela explained his party is not composed of pacifists. They believe in just wars that are fought by people who are trying to liberate themselves. We don't just support Russia in this war against Ukraine. We support Palestine. Even as the U.S. government and U.S. citizens are leaving this country every day, going to Palestine, that is murdering Palestinian Arabs on a daily basis. True. Don't tell us we can't have friends that you don't like. Exactly. Of course, they always take their phones and laptops. Now, check this out. Once the FBI has the phones and laptops in their possession, they can now do whatever they want to with them. They can plant child porn. They can plant conspiracy stuff that makes them look like they're involved in something they're not. That's the whole problem with having your property confiscated. Once it's in their possession, they can do whatever they want with it. Just like cops can plant drugs in your car, don't think the FBI can't plant all kinds of crap on your phone and laptop just to validate their unlawful and unconstitutional raid. The whole thing is about the right of African people to be free, to be in control of their labor, land, communities, resources. The government makes these things out to be so convoluted. Boy, isn't that true. Okay, so that's the thing about the FBI, you guys. I don't trust the FBI at all. There used to be a time where I did. I don't anymore. I've seen them in action. I contacted the last time I ever spoke to the FBI over the phone was back in 2011, I believe, when a kid made a video showing how you can defeat the naked body scanners by placing a lead box under your arm that contains anything you wanted to. He put something in there that wasn't illegal. And then he went through, let's see, he wasn't actually going through the airport. He was showing how that technology is not able to see. And then he gave real world examples. It's been such a long time. We're literally talking about 15 years here. But he either went through an actual body scanner with something in there that wasn't illegal, or he showed how that type of x-ray won't show it on the screen. And he was able to defeat the naked body scanner that you go through at the airport. And I literally contacted the TSA. They said, oh, this isn't a TSA matter. You have to contact the FBI. FBI passed the buck. They said, oh, that's not something that we would be looking into. I said, wait a minute. Are you serious? I'm sitting here telling you that potentially every single flight in the air right now is not safe and could have had someone who'd seen the same video that I did and decided to use that to smuggle something onto a plane that could either do horrible damage to the people on board or the plane itself. And you're saying that that's not something you would be looking into? Man, I was so pissed. And then the guy started like trying to backpedal as a black guy. And at the end I was like, okay, you know what? Never mind, man. I can tell that you guys don't give a shit. And thank you for taking my tax dollars and not doing a damn thing on it with him and just sitting on your ass while potentially thousands of people's lives right now are at risk who are flying in the U.S. And I just hung up on him. And then I called the Joint Anti-Terrorism Task Force. Same thing. Oh, you need to call the TSA. That's a TSA matter. No, I said the TSA told me to call you. First, actually, they told me to call the FBI, and the FBI told me to call you. Guys, every single agency passed the buck or actually just told me that's not something we'd look into. Basically, they didn't care, okay, because they didn't come up with it. It wasn't one of their little brainwashed patsies, mentally ill patsies that they, cultivated and cultured to carry out one of their crimes. They didn't give a damn. They don't care about your safety, period. Remember that next time you're going through that radiation scanner at the airport and getting a full pat down of your genitals. But anyway, all that to say that I said I was done. I was done with him after that. They're not for the American people. They're not here to protect and serve us. Absolutely not. They're the armed wing of the Democratic Party. Period. They're political pawns, is what the FBI are. They're there to arrest your enemies if you're the one who's in power. All right. Sorry, this came off a little bit aggressive and abrasive, but I'm just so sick of the BS, man. So sick of it. And this hits close to home because, like I said, this literally said that they weren't even listed in there as defendants, but they still threw flash grenades through their window. This can be anybody who speaks out against the government, okay? This can be anyone who holds quote-unquote radical views, also known as an American, someone who believes in freedom of speech. This could be us. This could be you. That's why this is so important.